Hello from Namibia. Today you will know a lot of new things about this country. This is Ukrainian vlog, so I'm sorry in advance for all my English mistakes. Hello guys, thank you for watching my new video about my African experience. I'm Christina, a digital nomad from Ukraine. And before Russia attacked Ukraine, I was in 3 months Namibian trip, and it was really bright experience for me. So I was sharing those videos in Russian language. After the war had started, I stopped doing it, and now I keep sharing these videos again, but already in English language. I hope that maybe this will give a possibility to know people better about Ukrainians, who those people actually are. And yes, I'm not in Ukraine now I'm in Germany, and now I'm going to keep sharing my African experience, but maybe some kind of it will give you information not only about Africa and Namibia, but also about the image of Ukrainian people. So I'm working as graphic designer, and it gives me a possibility to work wherever I want. And as I mentioned, I was in 3 months trip in Africa, and then came back to Ukraine after that, and then the war had started. So in the previous video, I made some kind of introduction in English language to my African trip, because the beginning was in Russian. So I want you to understand what is going on. So then that video, you can check it, because I was telling there which way I went to Namibia, why I haven't paid for accommodation and food for all 3 months in Namibia. I said a few words about the country in general, and introduced you the family which I was living with for the first almost 2 months. So actually that moment where I have stopped publishing my videos, it was a moment when I was already the last days on the first farm in Namibia, and I was going to the next one. So it would be, I think, very strange if I would just say now, okay, this is my last day there, and that's all. So, but like experience on the first farm was really very rich, very bright, and very interesting. I really want to share with you more information about that. So I decided to make such video like here now, it's some kind of organized, structured video about life of locals in Namibia. I would say that I was really missing this information when I was going to Namibia, because there are not too many videos about that. I haven't know anything about Namibia when I was going there, and I couldn't find them on the internet. So I think that it is really important, if you are planning your trip to Namibia, or in general if you want to know more about this world, to know how actually people live there. Because I was living with locals, I was seeing how they actually able to do it in such difficult circumstances. And now in this video I'm going to share with you how locals live in the desert, far away from civilization, without mobile connection and a lot of other things, far away from towns and cities. Everything this I will tell you in this video, so you are very welcome to watch it. To understand better what I'm talking about, I recorded Google Maps on my phone. The place where I was staying is called at Kronenhof Lodge. Let's take a look where Namibia is actually located. As you can see, it is located in the southwestern part of Africa and shares its borders with Angola, Zambia, Botswana, South Africa, and the Atlantic coast in the west. So now by the terrain you can see 5 main Namibian natural regions. The Namib Desert in the west, the Great Escarpment, the Central Plateau, the Kalahari in the east, and the Kavanga-Caprivi region on the north. I mentioned it in the previous video, but will give you more details now as they are important. The Namib Desert, from which the country has gotten its name, is known to be the oldest desert in the world. It borders the Atlantic coast. The central part of the desert is known for its huge sand dunes, which belong to the highest worldwide. The Great Escarpment separates the Namib Desert from the Central Plateau. It was formed about 80 million years ago. It stretches all the way from the north to the south of Namibia, but it is not a continuous range. Large gaps have been eroded away over millions of years. The Central Plateau lays between the Great Escarpment to the west and the Kalahari in the east. Although often called a desert, the famous Kalahari is actually difficult to be qualified as a desert. Thus, it is often called a semi-desert, and after good rainfalls, the Kalahari is well vegetated and home to an abundance of wildlife. The Kavanga-Caprivi area, with its subtropical temperatures, forms a separate natural region in the northeast of Namibia. Due to the humid climate, wildlife is abundant and many parts of the Kavanga-Caprivi region have been declared national parks and other protection areas. So, let's come back to the farm where I lived. As you can see, at Kronenhof Lodge lays somewhere between the Great Escarpment and the Central Plateau, very close to the Namib Desert in the south of Namibia. So you can see that it is not a green area. It means it's very dry and hot there. But along with that, it has a rich nature and absolutely breathtaking, unbelievable landscapes. I came here in the end of October and stayed in a farm until the middle of December last year. It was the beginning of the Namibian summer. Locals told me that I was lucky to experience a quite soft beginning of summer, but I must say that it was crazy hot. The only thing what I can say is that for me it anyway was easier to handle the dry climate than the big humidity, like for example in Sri Lanka. Just because humidity, I feel humidity like something much heavier. Dry climate is really like for me is lighter. Now you can see the house where the family lives. I was living with them in the one house. It is built from the stone, such way that just fan was enough to feel fresh. No need to use air condition. The stone perfectly keeps the fresh temperature inside the house, so I had air condition in my room, but I very rare was using it. Fan was really enough. However, there were some days where the water inside the tube was just boiling. Here you can see my room where I was living. What is interesting that next to the bed on the both tables they put Bible in Afrikaans local language. It's first time when I see Bible next to my bed, and I think it's still from the old times, from this previous century, because in Namibia there are still some traditions from those times. They still live here. This is the house of Karen's parents. We visited them at the weekend. They live next to the Karen and Chart, just like very close to them, and they're the only neighbors of Chart and Karen within 40 kilometers. Can you imagine? The closest neighbors of current child and current parents are in 40 kilometers. This is Namibia. And this is their farm. You may wonder who are actually locals. So Namibia actually is a very culturally rich country, connecting with the question of ethnic groups. It has a big variety of ethnic groups. I was living with local family. It was a white family, but they were born in Namibia. All the black people who you see here in the video, they're just temporarily living here while they're working on the farm. White population of Namibia who live here for a couple of generations are only around 6% among all population of Namibia, but they mainly run all the businesses here, and black population works on them for a very low salary. This question is quite difficult and has a lot of nuances. I'm not good in them, but I will talk about that from my personal experience, from what I personally saw in a separate video. Language. Family which I was living with speaks local language Afrikaans. It's a language formed from a mix of Old Germanic and Old Dutch language, and with some other mixes of languages. It was formed during the Dutch colonial times and now used mainly in Namibia and South Africa. English is the national language in Namibia, so all white people speak English very fluent. Black people, it depends where they live. If it's capital, for example, Windhoek, they know English quite well. If it's other regions, they maybe know basic English, so you can speak with them in English, but mainly they know only their native ethnic language from their ethnic group. It often happens when they come on the farm that they don't know English, don't know Afrikaans, but after a few months they can speak these languages, especially Afrikaans, quite well. Now on the video you see the red houses. They were built specially for workers, so while they are working on this farm, they live in these houses. This is the lodge. The main lodge, it contains of several units, starting from the standard suites, also some separate self-catering houses. It has also very beautiful villas and campsites, so people with absolutely different budget can find accommodation here. So I need to say that this family is very hardworking. They're getting money from their farm, cattle farm, which is quite big and needs a lot of work. And also recently they built this hotel to develop also a travel business. But unfortunately Corona and now all the other circumstances don't let them to do it really fast. Hope it will change soon. By the way, these sculptures were renovated by me after the family bought them on the antique market. It also was a part of my job here. Now we came to the main question and to the last one in this video. How actually this family is able to live here on their own, away from everything, from any civilization, without mobile connection and all other important things for living. How are they able to live such a comfortable life here, directly next to the Namib desert? There are only 4 people in this family, so there are a husband, a wife, and 2 kids, 4 years old, and their neighbors, also the closest neighbors, it's the current parents. So in general, 4 adults and 2 little kids, and they live on their own. It really sounds incredible, because to be able to do it, you need to have your own electricity, which they get because of the solar panels. They need to have their own water. They also use a wind generator. So they have their own well and they have a good water, so you can drink the tube water because it's quite clean, and all the water which we drink it's only from the well. But it needs to be quite deep. If to be honest, I absolutely forgot how much deep it's here, but I think it's around 100 meters. I think that it is around this depth, and it's not deep well. There are regions where the wells can be more than 200 meters. And of course, there is no mobile connection. At this area, there are areas in Namibia where there is mobile connection, and it is absolutely awful there. Here, you don't have it, but the hotel has internet. And internet is quite expensive there and also very slow. And you just don't have an option to make it faster. It's just slow and you can't do anything with that. So you just need to accept it, and all your job, hotel's job, everything, business depends on this slow internet connection. So you need to understand it. If you're going like me to record some video and to publish some video in Namibia, it will be quite complicated because the speed is very, very limited and it will be really a challenge. And connecting the mobile connection, so people here use a radio set to connect each other. They can't just call each other. So if somebody goes to the farm where there is no internet, they use a radio set. It was my first experience when I was learning how to use this radio set. It was very interesting. So there are no kindergartens, there are no schools. When the kids will grow up, they will go to school in a few years and they will have to spend there all the week, and parents will just be visiting them at the weekend. And there are no hospitals in the close distance. To get a good health care, you need to go to the capital Windhoek in more than 400 kilometers, almost 500. You have maybe some doctor in the nearest city in 40 kilometers, and that's all. But despite that, I was asking several locals on one farm party, which was here. I asked them if they would like to, if they had a possibility, if they moved from this country or or at least to the capital to live a more comfortable life. And most of them reply that no, they really enjoying this farm life. They're really happy here. And I can understand that. So, I hope you liked this video. I was trying to make it really useful and informative. I hope I was able to do it. Not all the videos will be in such kind of format. Later I will be showing you the videos in more vlogging style, but I just wanted to give you some important information from my personal knowledge, which I got there in Africa. And thank you for your comments, for your likes, for sharing among your friends. And I want to wish you a very beautiful day today. See you very soon in a few days only in the new video. Bye bye!